will never regret like watering yourself. If you make a mistake in life, it's never going to be, I'm so pissed off I built that skill. I'm so mad that I became more confident. So if you ever just feel like, I don't know what the this person is, if they're giving me enough, just focus on yourself because you won't regret it.
Thanks for your concern. Welcome back to Thanks for Your Concern. You're here with Berenice.
And I'm Ella. Hey, everybody. I'm in good spirits today.
Yeah?
Are you in good spirits?
I'd say so. What's going on with you?
Oh my God, I have so many announcements. I haven't even told you. I'm launching a YouTube tomorrow.
Period. That's so exciting. Okay.
Okay, you guys, here's a long story short. I feel an affinity to long form that I do not feel to short form content.
Okay.
Short form, it feels like quantity. It's like you get a video and you can't even like enjoy the video because you got to get another video.
I see what you mean. Yes.
It just feels like a rat race where I'm just like, God damn it, another video. And I just like the idea of like one video a week.
Okay. Yeah. I think whatever works for you.
Yeah. So I was very excited. So we're launching Thursday. Every Thursday, we're having new videos, maybe even twice a week. I might be crazy. Okay. And it's honestly mostly an outlet for me to start storytelling in a real way.
I like that.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
But it's honestly just for shits and gigs because I've been beating myself up because I cannot do TikTok every single day for the life of me.
Yeah, it's rough. I have my seasons. I like go hard for like a 3-month period of time and then I have to take a little break.
And I honestly have more fun when I don't care about TikTok instead of like, this is my one video for the day.
Yeah, it gets really competitive with yourself.
And then all the stuff that like hits are like things I don't want to continually make.
I understand your grievances. It's like kind of a hit or miss on there. You get what you get. It's like the algorithm chooses what goes viral, and if you don't like it, like
yeah. I'm getting like opportunities for a niche where I'm like, I feel like I'm accidentally in this like Asian food niche. Like I didn't even make this happen for me. That's just what I eat. Now I'm getting opportunities like, oh, come to this restaurant. Do you want to get this thing? And I'm like, I don't feel like these opportunities are for me.
Okay.
But this is what the algorithm wants.
That's what they want from me. You know, I would say I took all the food opportunities. When you first start TikTok, the thing is the food ones, because of the search engine, they hit. And if you get placed in that, you will get reached out by restaurants to like come try their food. Which personally, I went to each one of them. I was like, I'm down.
I am also down, okay? I'm not going to yuck my own yum, but I just mean like long term, I don't know that this is what feeds my soul. Oh. I like it because I like highlighting local businesses, especially POC businesses. Like, you know, I love that down.
Yeah.
If I can get a bunch of people into a pho place, yeah, like, you know, like I love that. But if we're talking about like, where do I see myself in 5 years? That's what YouTube's going to be, okay? So everyone, first of all, you should be subscribed to our
Thanks
YouTube.
For your concern.
Thanks for your concern. Okay. We do a whole video and me and Berenice say, always look cute. So if you want to see our faces, our facial expressions, do that. And then also Ella Tudor. And then, oh my God, I'm sorry. This is going to be a long update, but I just have to do a women's PSA update because I feel like I have to do it for the women.
Yes.
So I got a coloscopy. A coloscopy is when you have a abnormal pap smear. And a pap smear you have is to detect abnormalities with your cervix, specifically HPV, which is technically a sexually transmitted disease. And I feel like it's way more stigmatized. And like, I was kind of freaked out before I knew all that I know now. The experiences were good. Modern medicine has gotten a lot better. So if you have heard about like horror stories about pap smears, it's different for every person. It is very intimate. Okay. You have like somebody inside of you like, that you literally don't know. And it's not in like a fun way. You know what I'm saying? So it is intimate, but it wasn't like super painful. And I have read that a lot of the procedure has gotten better. Like, so for instance, to get like sample from your cervix, they used to have to take a lot because testing wasn't as good. Now they don't have to take as much, so it's less painful. And people do vary. So I had what I would say is a good experience. People do have bad experiences, but it's not exclusively bad experience.
I have a lot of friends that have really bad experiences. I also feel like if you have a bad experience, you're more willing to write about it than if it's like a whatever experience.
Yeah.
The bad experiences are highlighted. I think it also depends where you go. Because, like,
Yes.
I remember I had a few bad experiences in Washington, a lot of gaslighting of medical people, but also just in general, when I came to New York, I started going to like a women's clinic and I had the
Yeah.
best experiences there, like with all the staff members, every procedure that was done to me. Like, I was like, I feel like they have updated techniques here.
It's so cool because, like, I'm legit having, like, Gen Z doctors at this point because, like, legit, if you're in residency, you're, like, a Gen Z doctor, and I'm telling you, I it is a very great experience. I had one boomer doctor, she was great too, but the resident, she was so dope. She was very like, I very much was like, "Oh, yes," like, I'm loving to see this generation of women become doctors, and you're supposed to get a pap smear starting when you're 21. People think it's, like, an older person thing, but now we're starting for preventative medicine at 21. And I what is crazy is that I know so many people are getting laid off right now, and I cannot believe health insurance is tied to work. There is a sliding scale at like most doctors' offices and definitely at Planned Parenthood. So you could get this thing for free or for like 25 bucks. So I just had to do my general PSA with this platform that get your shit checked out because it just starts you on a preventative cycle because cervical cancer is the most preventable cancers and most survivable cancers if caught early.
Period. We love a PSA.
Okay, what about you? What's going on?
Nothing new of sorts. I am still kicking and screaming, making these outfits. I did like a really big pre-order moment for Beyond Wonderland California. Everything is pretty much done. Everything is rolling out this week, and now the next one is EDC Las Vegas, and that's in a couple of months. The situation is like there is interest. There's still just me making things, and it's really come down to like what is the mission, because I do get customs for things like I'm not super passionate about, but I know they'll pay well and like I can deliver,
Mhm.
because a lot of things are like based on things. So in that sense, I think like I like to take on like one or two projects per se. Now I'm also more like confident in my skill set that I do know how to make, let's say, the Facebook corset. Do I feel like I need to spend 5 hours making that as part of your outfit when it's going to get fully decorated? No. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
certain things where I'm like, do I need to be manually putting in all this work? So now I'm like, okay, we outsource certain materials and certain pieces and then putting the decoration in there. It's gonna look the same. And I'm pretty sure, like, materials wise, they're gonna be made by the same things. It's just somebody made that. So in that sense, like I feel like things are like going a little bit more swiftly when it comes to like customs and stuff, because now I've allowed myself to like I don't have anything to
Yeah.
like I know who I am. So that sense has been good. We're still trying to figure some things out. I still don't love sewing everything by myself. So we're looking at other options specifically for pants and things like that. Those can get manufactured. I am looking into, however, sometimes like it doesn't feed the soul. You know what I mean? Like
Hey, it's a business,
I
baby.
know, like
Yeah.
that's where like the art part meets the business part, and I'm like, oh god. But I do feel more confident in the business side as well. Like I feel like I can see my growth. So in that sense, we're happy, we're learning, we're growing. It doesn't feel crazy anymore. People are still reaching out to me on weekends, which I completely like understand. Like, you paid me, I'm gonna reply to you obviously, but I just feel like we've been so desensitized of like labor and expectations
Mhm.
from brands when you have an entire corporation with employees that are specialized for customer service. I saw this girl's TikTok and she's like, can we talk about like getting scammed by like small businesses, especially with like rave outfits? And I don't know, I have mixed.
I almost said that. I almost tagged you. I was like, she won't scam you, but I was like, maybe not.
I think the reason I'm gonna make like my own video in a sense of response to that is not. I just feel like because you don't see the amount of work that goes behind making clothes, a lot of people have become like very in. Not, I don't want to say entitled, just like unaware. of all like the true labor behind making clothes. So like yes, you could get a cheaper article of clothes from somewhere else where they are paying people way less money, you know what I mean? Like but the labor is still there. Like it is still takes probably 2-3 days to make your article of clothes and like no offense, but $200 is just like not that much money. Mostly when the materials are like half or more.
I have an outfit by someone that they were like called out specifically, and I was like, you know what's crazy is that they have no idea the material cost in this as well. Because what do you think beaded lace costs when it's that variance, like that many different types of beads? Like, I think there is like this misconception about clothes that it's like a factory. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
it's just
it's like
there like
some machine, like AI makes fabric or
yeah.
whatever. And what you don't realize is that like no, people are hand making this fabric and hand bejeweling this fabric. So even before it gets to the designer, there is like this handmade element. And like who knows? Like I don't know every single designer's like politics, but it's like she straight up could be paying people a living wage in another country. It's like I got this bathing suit and people are like, "Oh, this bathing suit's so expensive." And it's like, well, it's because they pay every single person who works on this garment a living wage down to the person who's making up the fabric. It's like, of course, you could choose something cheaper, but what encompasses those choices?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like a lot of people reach out to you with just unrealistic expectations. You give me not that much money. I might take it because I'm excited about the design. But like, I don't know. Like, it's way more complicated to make clothes than I think people, you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like scam is like a really strong word to use for someone that's probably putting a lot of effort in your outfit. Also, like with these customs, like people want like a non stretchy fabric with a stretchy fabric. And like when you stretch that, the non stretchy part, the stitches are gonna break. But you are paying
Yeah.
me for the look. You're like, yes, it's a dance outfit, but like, let's be real. Like, do you think feathers are gonna go in the washing machine and come out looking exactly like that? Like, do you think you're gonna be running around in mosh pits and that's gonna hold together when you don't put a piece of clothing through that usually? Like, there's just so many things that I'm just like, okay, like valid, but like let's also give some credit to the fact that like for someone's probably trying their best to give you what you want at the price point that you want. It's just you just don't get that article of clothing. It's just worth way more labor wise. Yeah. So
People think less fabric, less work. And it's like, no,
no.
like it's not like that. Yeah.
So I have food for thought about that because there's just a lot of things that go into making, which sometimes discourages me from making clothing. I'm just like, people are just like never fucking happy.
Babe's never happy with nothing. Okay. Talk about never happy with nothing. This episode, it's like sometimes you should just water so it grows. Okay. So essentially, like this idea that I don't want to say the grass is greener on the other side, but sometimes it takes it's good to evaluate what you can improve by like watering the plants. Okay. Instead of just trying to go to a big box store and buying new plants. It's like, babes, you have plants. Okay. Let's just like water it. Let's take care of it. Let's nourish it. Let's get into the
Let's get
episode.
into it.
Big
Oh.
disclaimer. Big disclaimer. If you have a piece of shit partner, this does not apply to you, okay? And I mean this as in if you think you are in an abusive relationship, you probably are, okay? Go check on the signs and symptoms online and literally get some help because I've been there, girl. I've been there. But what I mean is
Mhm.
we sometimes take for granted a good thing because it's not perfect.
Yeah, I have certain like thoughts on like watering where you want to see growth. And I think with like kind of like bringing up relationships right off the bat, even building community, anything that you put energy in, there
Yeah.
has to be like some sort of meat of energy at some point where you are putting in energy, right? So like
Hmm.
with relationships, like you can water your relationship as much as you fucking want, but if the other person does not want to grow, you're like beating a dead horse. You know what I mean? Like something have learned through people in my life is like, well, I just thought if I just pour love into it, it would just like the outcome would be different. And I'm like, That's really tough because you might be pouring love into it, but if the other person is just like not wanting to work on that, and that happened to be in my last relationship where I just like felt like I continued to like try to work on things and communicate, and I was out here doing mental gymnastics on like how to make this relationship work. And ultimately when we broke up, he was like, I'm sorry, I was like never gonna make like I was never gonna change for you. I was like, okay, so I was out here wasting my fucking time,
Tragic.
just to somebody was just unwilling to meet me that way. So that's where I feel like you yes, you should always like see maybe value a good thing, but also determining if the other person is also wanting to put in that effort to create mutual growth, because you don't water something for that to grow, like at the same time you want to grow too.
Sometimes think about that meme like, oh, like that's a good man, Savannah. And when you have someone who's like willing to work on things, it's like, okay, so if they're willing to work on things and I'm willing to work on things, we can get some motion here, you know? It's like when neither person wants to work on things, it's like, okay, well then maybe we should just tap out. I think sometimes like we don't even recognize in our relationships when someone's trying to work on something. Like I feel like not in like boyfriend, girlfriend, but sometimes in my family dynamics, I'm like, okay, this is progress. Okay. This is not exactly what I was looking for, but this is a sign that you are trying to water this plant. And so I, in turn, will also try to level with you and communicate maybe a little bit better about what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's easy to jump into conclusions like they're still doing this thing I don't like, me myself, and jump into like he's not willing to work on that, like he hates me. That's what my mind ultimately goes to. But I think sometimes you do have to see the small things, like change does take time. Small actionable steps is what I would like to call it. As someone who's like really spooked to like be in a situation where like there is no change, I've been jaded. I feel like this is something I really try to hold on to when I see the small things. It's like, oh, they are listening. Like they
Yeah.
are trying to be considerate of me, but I'm not like the voice inside their head. You know what I mean? They're still their own human.
Yeah, I'm like something that like I heard that I really vibed with was like clean up your side of the street. And so essentially like I've been really trying to try my best so that at least I can like walk away from a situation saying that I tried my best. Okay? Cuz I think I won't say like I think usually when people are fed up, like there's it's just a long time coming and I get that, but I feel like if I'm being self-aware, there's times where I'm like, "You know what? Let me try different, let me try a different communication or let me see what I can do to fix this situation." And like, not even with relationships, but I sometimes get fixated on a solution instead of the outcome. So what I mean is that like I'm fixated on moving right now, okay? Because I feel like it's gonna fix like a ton of my problems. I think it will, actually. I actually feel like it will. But that only comes with me trying my best to like figure out a different solution. I was like, I need to get the I just really am really excited to live on my own. Like you guys have no idea. Like I have never not had roommates. I think the longest I've gone without a roommate was when I was a orientation counselor in the dorms. So I wasn't even really like living by myself. But I'm going to tell you there was so much joy in being in that fucking I had the entire dorm room to myself, like 2 floors. And there was so much peace that came from that summer, and it's like, yeah, well, that's the piece of living alone. That's like when you walk into your house and there's no new mess. I now could say that without some more conviction because I've tried some more to try to make this space work. Like, is it really like what other friction is in my home that I can fix now without having to move?
Solution oriented. We do like solutions. In placing like energy in certain spaces. I think community goes a long way. Me after like living alone. But living alone, like I think that's like you creating the space that you need in order to show up for others sometimes. Like that's why you can't live with everybody. I've had probably the worst experiences living with people I used to be friends with, because some people are just not meant to live together. Is a compatibility that's rare.
I know that I am like the abnormal one of person who's like I'm like I feel like living alone is da, 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 da. But the thing about community and I at my grandma's funeral, I was like, okay, this is what community looks like, you know, because she has been showing up for the same people for 100 years, bitch. Okay. But like literally, it's just like, dang, okay, this is what building a community actually looks like. Because when people were saying things to me, it wasn't like some like surface level, like, sorry you missed your grandma. It was like, your grandma always showed up. These like this is the food she made for me. These are the times she showed up for me. Like, you know, she was there when my father died and like she was so supportive and like the things people were saying to me really like changed my mind on like, oh, okay, this is what community was. And people always said that she never forgot. She remembered everyone's birthday and called them up, and because she had a little date book. And she literally every single day would wake up, look at her date book, see whose birthday it was, and give them a motherfucking call. So she called every single person she knew on their birthday. And she like genuinely just cared about people, but she didn't really do that. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I think people think like to build community, you need these like ginormous actions, you know? And it's like, no, it's just like making sure that people are all right on a regular basis.
Yeah. I think that anything that's kind of like worth in building community sometimes puts you at an inconvenience. Like community can show up for you, but like it's not always convenient. You know what I mean? Like you have to go out of your way to do something that does not benefit you for others. And sometimes it's like you're not always going to be met. And I think like kind of going back to this idea of like kind of notice wherever you water where it's blossoming, because I feel like sometimes I put energy in the wrong communities and like it's dead. That's like it
Preach.
looks like the fucking drought, even though I'm out there fucking, more water.
Yeah.
And I think that a way to recognize that, at least for like myself, is that sometimes I've been wanting to be parts of like friend groups, and that's the type of where I'm also a very like solution oriented person, and sometimes I like to do that with others. Like if you tell me an interest and I know somebody, I'll call them up right there and then. Let me see if I can like get you some help with that, because ultimately like that is how you build community, being like, "Oh, I know
Yep.
somebody." And so I have done that, and I have had good experiences with that with people who want to meet my energy, but I've also had experiences where I'm like, "Oh, you are interested in the job that I have? Girl, let me hook you up with, like let me refer you or whatever." And like that energy is just never met back, even in basic friendship. When I've lingered in those spaces too long where there is nothing blooming there, I start to like revert back to like a very almost like self-conscious people pleasy version of myself, where I just become a little bit anxious about friendship. And I think it's because clearly I am like trying to give something energy and something does not want to reciprocate that. And I think I get the little insecurity bug of like, what? Like I think like I
Yeah.
revert to like a very childhood self where I like those were some insecurities that I had. And I think I've just learned to like this instance in this person's life, like they cannot value my energy. And I'm okay with now like walking away, but like at least for me, that's like a really big tell that like this is not where I need to put my energy. This is not where I need to water.
It requires like vulnerability on both sides to grow. I think it's very tough when you're like a little bit vulnerable by either like putting yourself out there to add someone to your community and then they just don't reciprocate. You're like, okay, well, what the fuck? But you should have closed yourself off. Like, you have to be open to growth.
And it's not just like by doing things for other people. I think like for me, it was like I am trying to invite you to part of my community. Is like, do you guys want to
Hmm.
have a girls' night? Like, do you want to do this together? And it's just like met with a lot of resistance. I never necessarily thought that was about me, because I'm like, maybe they're just like not want to be vulnerable or make new friends. But you can take that energy with other people who will be like, I needed this.
Yes. It's just really it's like one of those things where it's like don't close yourself off because like someone will meet your energy. So just like keep on going out into the world and like finding it because you'll eventually find your people. Like, you know, my favorite quote was like your vibe attracts your tribe. Now, if your vibe is chaotic, you will attract chaotic people.
Yeah.
And I'm actually like really excited about the next phase of my life because I'm excited to I can tell a difference when someone is my vibe. Is my vibe. No, but I just mean like, are we talking about books? Are we talking about like movies? Are we talking about how we're gonna make $1 million.
Versus where we're gonna go drink this weekend. Yeah.
Definitely, you will never regret, like, watering yourself. Like, in the be all end all, you will never regret self-growth, you know? Like, if you make a mistake in life, it's never gonna be, "I'm so fucking pissed off I built that skill," or, "I'm so mad that I fucking became more confident." Like, that's never a bad thing, so if you ever just feel like, "I don't know what the fuck this person is, if they're giving me enough," just focus on yourself because you won't regret it.
Oh, 100%. I feel like that's the best way to navigate a situation anytime, whether friendships or relationships where people have been like, I don't know, I'm like unhappy in the situation. I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's just time to pour more love into yourself. I was like, what do you like? Like, what are the big ideas? What are the big goals? I have had this conversation with a lot of friends. I'm like, you need bigger dreams. I'm like, this seems like a bump in the road, but I feel like if you just focus with, I'm like, what do you really want to do in the future? And it's like, not, if there's nothing there, I'm like, maybe let's think of a big dream.
And also, like, sometimes I feel like the w when things aren't blooming, why don't you circle back to something you wanted to do as a kid, okay? Like, I feel like that's part of the reason why I'm doing YouTube. Like, did you guys know I posted YouTube videos from my mom's basement 12 years ago? I bet you didn't, because I've taken them down because they're low key embarrassing.
Me
But
too.
but I'm like, yeah, I'm like, you know what? Let's change it up. What have I always wanted to do? Dude, I've always wanted to do YouTube. Why don't we do it? Okay. Let's feed on that and see where that ends up. I don't know why TikTok is feeding me like burnout energy, like corporate burnout material. I'm like, couldn't be me, you know? Like, I don't know why, but maybe it's because it's interesting to watch. But I think a lot of those people burn out because it's like, bro, you cannot, there's only so much satisfaction you can get into a 9 to 5 in a place where you have like no fucking control.
Yeah, I don't know. My brain's never liked it.
It's just like water your inner child, man. What did you like when you were fucking being a kid? Why don't you do that at all? When you were like a fucking 6 years old, you weren't like, I'm so pumped for Excel spreadsheets. It's like, of course, now it's like, come on, add a little whimsy into your life, man.
Shit sometimes is about balance. I think if you are a master of chaos, a little self destructive troll doll, sometimes a little structure does benefit you.
And vice versa.
Yeah, like seeking the opposite of what you're used to will teach you a lot about maybe things that you need for yourself.
Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, you know? Like I think sometimes we only want to be in like areas and water ourselves where we are confident and where we're good at. And it's like, bro, you need to do something that you're bad at. You're going to gain way more like clarity by doing something that you're bad at but still want to do than you will doing something you're very proficient at.
That is true. And with like watering yourself and others, I think part of that is like noticing who is watering you, per se, who's putting energy on you. I think sometimes we're so focused on the things that are not at reach that we just kind of take the things that are there for granted. And I've had a lot of realizations with that, especially like around birthdays and things like that, is like who's really showing up for me? And am I showing
Mhm.
up for them in the same way? Sometimes those are the places, those are the people that are worth it. Those are the friendships that are right in your face. And it's funny how in the other side, right? Like where I'm like, I've been watering this thing and it's not going anywhere. Somebody could be feeling that with me. And I think like I'm
Mhm.
doing kind of a disservice to myself to not look around and be like, oh wow, this person has been putting a lot of energy into me. Like they see me and be able to decide if like that's something I want to put in energy. I think with me,
Yeah.
you'll always know where you're at with me because I will purposely like take a step back from our friendship if I feel like our values don't align. Like if I stop watering something, there may be something going on. Do I feel like it's worth a conversation if it's political? No. I'm not going to change her mind. I just don't feel like we're a good match. But if it's like situational, I'll probably try to make a conversation about it. I'm not a perfect person. I've definitely hit the avoidant route in a few friendships where like could they have gone a different way had we talked it out? Yes, but
When you said that, the thing I was thinking about was when you have like only so much water in your watering can, make sure you're distributing that in a way that feel makes sense for you. I sometimes see people like crash out on social media over a breakup, and I'm like, part of it, I feel like they say like, "Oh, I put so much energy into this relationship." And it's like that is when I feel like breakups hit the hardest, is when like you have kind of neglected yourself in for another person. And so it's like make sure that it's equal, and then if that person is also equally putting energy, then you're not really losing any water.
Very true. Those are tricky. You lose a lot of friendships when you like only care about your relationship, when it becomes like so distressful that that's the only thing that you can really think about. And I think when I was younger, I used to take that really personally when my friends would just like ditch me for their relationships that
Yeah.
were in rocky waters. I think now I'm like emotionally mature enough to be like, all right, like I'm not gonna hold that against you. I know you can't show up for me in the same ways because you're fighting. You're like you are fighting
Yeah.
for your life right now. I've seen that. I saw a TikTok that was like, you could be fighting for your life, but people are just like going to be basically upset at you because you're not showing up for them the way that they want you to. And I reflected a lot about that because it's like you're right. Like sometimes you just can't meet people, so I'm not gonna hold it against you, but because I know you're going through something type of thing. But I do believe like if you know that that's going on, I'm probably gonna let you figure that out. Like I'm not gonna hold it against you, but I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, we're like super tight and super cool. She's going through some things. Girl's got to figure it out. I know that maybe post this, maybe she'll show up for me in the way that I want to in a friend, but I'm not gonna be like, you're not showing up for me because I know like sometimes things can be really
Don't let it. No, just joking. I can really sympathize with this idea that like you're fighting for your life, but I just don't believe that it should be that hard. I really don't. I don't think you should be fighting for your life. I think that is like a cue that something is off.
But if you give people space, they usually figure it out. You know what I mean? You can only like advise your friend for so long. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're eventually gonna get tired of it. There's only so much energy you can put into something before you're like, God, like, get me out of here.
You have to let people make their own mistakes.
And I've made a lot of mistakes, so
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna judge you. I truly do believe that I people are like you're very patient with people, and I'm like the thing is I can very relate to a lot of things that people are going putting way too much energy into your relationship. Like been there, they're just like things that like as you grow, you figure out. I think when you're worse than me, that's right. I don't know if I have as much patience for it. Like if you do me super dirty, even in my worst days, like where I felt like I couldn't show up for people, I never did somebody like super, super dirty or super, super malicious or super, super inconsiderate. So I feel like there's a threshold.
It's like the good people's threshold for me. It's like they're good people's. Like
They're
they're a
just
good
going through
person.
something.
They're just going through something. And so like I have a lot of grace for good people who are going through a struggle. And also you only probably know like 10% of the struggle. Like sometimes like when people are in the depths of hell, not only are they fighting their boyfriend, but they're like fighting their childhood trauma. You know what I'm saying? And so like I really give people a lot of grace when they're a good person, but I also have about 0 patience for people who are pieces of shit, and there's, like, a difference.
Yeah. If I see any traits of like you're trying to manipulate me, lie to me, or like you're low key doing something sus in the background, no patience. I'm good.
I know, sometimes I have to figure out, I'm like, how far do I was like, I feel like I need to call this person out, but I'm gonna, like, not say anything because it's really not my business, but I will definitely not even try to make a friendship with you.
Yeah. Those are
No.
not good people traits.
Literally, and sometimes I'm like, "Am I reading into this?" And I'm like, "No, I actually don't think I am."
So choose wisely where you want to water, but water away.
Baby, give as much as you can give, and each day it is gonna be different. Okay, we all have a different capacity for growth and for fucking feeding into things and people. So wherever you're at today, I hope that you have a beautiful week. I hope that you come back next week to hear all of our little hee hee ha ha's. As usual, make sure that you like, subscribe, tell a friend. It helps us out a whole lot. And you can find us on social media. Thanks, number for your concern. I'm at Ella L Tutor on every platform, including YouTube now.
I'm at Berenice and Ella.
We love you. Bye.